Doctor explains deaths at Goroka General Hospital. Transport workshop to assess viability of agencies. And from football to fashion.
This is National Emtv News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. The Minister of Transport and Infrastructure is holding a two-day workshop aimed at assessing the work of all agencies within the department. Minister for Transport and Infrastructure William Sam officiated the workshop today with strong challenges to the agencies.
The department is working with the DOT under the MOU on cooperation.
The Transport and Infrastructure workshop started today with the theme Inclusiveness of Transport System. Minister for Transport and Infrastructure William Sam officiated the two-day workshop. Heads of various agencies under the ministry with representatives from the Australian Department of Transport and Infrastructure were in attendance. The Minister for Transport gave a stern challenge to the heads of agencies under his ministry.
Secretary, CEOs, middle management, tell me how we are going to change or diversify transport sector to ensure that we contribute critically to take back PNG.
The government has challenged all departments and agencies to assess how they will contribute towards the vision statement of taking back PNG. Transportation and infrastructure plays a vital role in driving the country's economy. The three agencies in the transport sector, Department of Transport, Road Traffic Authority and the National Maritime Safety Authority were tasked to contribute service incentives. As a way forward to deliver services in the country, the Transport Minister hinted ideas on use of technology and solar energy in transportation.
We have to find a way to do an alternative and a cheaper and economical option from late to here. We need to ensure if there's economic viability to introduce rail as an alternative transport for to complement the existing road transport network. Or if the current transport systems are using fossil fuel, why can't we tap into solar and see if there's options for solar powered vehicles?
The three agencies under the transport sector made presentations on policy initiative, transport plans and challenges faced in service delivery, among others. Secretary for Department of Transport Roy Mumu pointed out to the minister that the government expects civil aviation agencies to generate revenue to contribute to the budget. Given that, he asked what the Department of Transport, Road Traffic Authority and National Maritime Safety Authority leverage off. At the end of this two-day workshop, the agencies are expected to come up with incentives and way forward to contribute to the economy and service delivery. Patricia Kiamo, National Emtv News.
Goroka General Hospital confirmed today that only 3 neonatal babies have recently died from Klebsiella pneumonia. Hospital CEO Dr. Joseph Appa brushed aside claims and media reports stating more than 20 babies have died already. Vasinatayama files this report in Goroka.
The hospital, with the help from the Medical Research Institute, have controlled the situation and working towards preventing it to spread.
So we assure you, people of Eastern Islands Province, there is nothing wrong and there's nothing wrong with the hospital, and you can feel free to come to the hospital.
CEO Dr. Joseph Appa confirmed that 8 newborn babies were diagnosed with Klebsiella pneumonia. 2 have reportedly died. They were newborn babies admitted for being undernourished and underweight.
But now we have facilities that can isolate the bacteria and treat them properly. So the statistics that you have had in the media throughout this week are all false. They are lies, false statements, and we can discard that.
Specialist doctors say Klebsiella is an organism which is good for our body but is dangerous when it comes out of the body through waste and body cuts and can pass on from hand to hand. Hand washing using proper sanitizers and hospital cleaning using proper detergents can prevent people from getting the bacteria. Klebsiella is resistant to antibiotics and can cause death or paralysis.
It's an organism that it's called a hospital-acquired organism. It's in the hospital, it's in the environment. It's on the skin of patients, it's on the skin of staff. And so it's only when we have this kind of facilities where we suspect and we swab these areas, are we able to identify.
Director Curative Health, Dr. Kapiro Kendara says the hospital is using its microbiology services to do culture tests to grow and identify the organism, sensitivity tests to expose them, and microscopy tests.
To see which one the drug is, the bug is sensitive to and resistant. So in that way, we can be in a better position to to select the right drug that can kill the organism.
The hospital management expressed disappointment with Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu to quickly run to the media and release information which they feel was not true. Vasinata Yama, National Emtv News, Goroka.
Former Police Commissioner Gary Baki has filed court applications to challenge his removal as Commissioner of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. The former Commissioner was appointed in 2014 and served as Commissioner for 5 years until the National Executive Officer appointed an acting Commissioner and 2 acting Deputy Commissioners to replace Baki and his team. Police Minister Brian Kramer says Baki has the right to challenge NEC's decision or the process involved in removing him. However, until court determines the outcome of Baki's application, NEC is working on making permanent appointments for the 3 top positions in the police force.
So until the court makes a determination on whether to overturn NEC's decision or determine whether it was unlawful and not in accordance with the provisions of the law, I can't comment on the merits of the case because the matter is currently before the court.
As of 3 p.m. today, Friday, August 2nd, reads for the Friday, August 2nd, reads for the 2019 local level government elections will be returned. This will set into motion for established procedures and instructions to be followed when conducting inaugural LLG meetings and facilitating the elected heads of LLGs. The process of conducting these first LLG assembly meetings and electing of presidents and mayors of LLGs was made clear in another briefing with the Office of the Ministry for Intergovernment Relations earlier today.
The process and procedures of the inaugural meeting and election of heads of LLGs are clearly outlined and provided for under sections 12, 18 and 23 of the LLG Administration Act 1997 and the Model LLG Standing Orders of Debate sections 8, 9 and 10 accordingly. The Ministry of Intergovernment Relations, through the Minister responsible, is exercising his powers under Section 8, subsection 1 of the LLG Standing Orders and Rules of Debate 2013, which says that the Minister is responsible for fixing the date and time not more than 15 days after the date fixed for the return of writs for the LLG elections for these inaugural meetings to sit.
When I received, only then the meetings can take place, presidents can be elected. No meetings will be held until the writs are issued. An official date for that is on the 5th of August. It will not happen any earlier than the 5th. And if they do, then I will not also recognize those elected. So it must be done properly.
Since there is currently no official LLG Gazette existing, the Minister responsible has dates fixed to the conduct of the inaugural meeting to start from the 5th of August to 17th August 2019.
Proper procedures and notification must go to all elected members or councillors so that ample time must be given for them to attend.
Provincial administrators and district chief executive officers are expected to take responsibility over the conduct of the LLG assembly meetings, and the ministry had also written to the Deputy Prime Minister and Attorney General requesting the support of state lawyers and magistrates for their presence during the assembly meetings.
But I prefer magistrates and judges, number one, and secondly, the magistrates to swear them in during swearing-in ceremony. That letter has been gone out.
The agenda of the inaugural meeting starting on the 5th must be the election of the president or mayor. The CEOs must step aside and hand over the chair to the newly elected heads of the LLGs. Anet Kora, National Emtv News.
Meanwhile, Minister Nningi is calling on all national leaders to spend time with their constituents in their respective districts to witness and support the LLG's conduct and their inaugural meetings.
When the conduct of the elections, I appeal to the members of parliament and ministers, appeal to ministers and provincial administrators and even district, even department secretaries, and it's a national service if they can go and witness the swearing in and the election of the presidents. And it is our duty to ensure that this takes place, and we all have to be involved.
You're watching National Emtv News. We'll be back with more stories after these messages. Welcome back. Head Bishop of the Lutheran Church, Dr. Jack Kurame, says the church has renewed efforts to educate people on the negative environmental impacts caused by large-scale development. He said while people are focused on the monetary benefits of royalties, the destruction will remain long after the money runs out.
The Lutheran Church celebrated 500 years in 2017, and it's chosen to move forward with renewed resolve. The last 10 years has been challenging for the Lutheran congregations as they battle to have their voices heard amidst the loud public relations chatter by companies keen to get hold of resources. In Madang, the Lutheran community campaigned against seabed mining. Pastor Mateo Ibak says those lessons learned are now being shared with other Lutheran communities.
People got all get the rights to talk. Something straight people must talk.
The Lutheran communities have strong support from the head bishop. Dr. Jack Kurame has made it quite clear that large-scale development that affects the lives of people through negative impacts should be questioned and people should be adequately informed.
If any form of development like the mining, for example, or the nickel project, for example, or any other projects that affects the livelihood, that destroys the marine life, and that also disturb the ecological system, and that is not good. And so we have to speak against those issues. So our position as church is very, very clear, and I am driving this voice and very clearly within the church, but also in the wider community.
Through a series of workshops and community engagements, the Lutheran Church is reaching out through its extensive network to educate members of its congregation. Scott Waide, National Emtv News, Leh.
As a new frontier for the cocoa industry in Papua New Guinea's Simbu province is aiming to increase production and quality to benefit its farmers. Speaking at the recent Kumul Blong Morabe Cocoa of Excellence show, Simbu Governor Michael Dua has committed to providing the necessary support so that its farmers see real benefits. Among the interventions, improving the freight subsidy program.
At the recent Kumul Blong Morabe Cocoa of Excellence show, farmers from Karamui in Simbu province were present. Karamui, located 1,400 meters above sea level, is the new frontier for cocoa in Papua New Guinea. Since 2013, this district has been producing cocoa, adding more value to the lives of farmers in this highlands district.
Now we have a long way to go, and the government will them step back but push him because direct benefit go to farmers. Nobody's in between to disturb, but the farmers are doing all the work, all planning, all our team now. I think they are doing direct markets to overseas. and the money goes straight back to the pocket of the people.
Given the infancy of the cocoa industry in Simbu province, a focus on cocoa extension as well as support through the freight subsidy program has been high on the agenda for the provincial government. Given the remoteness of Karamui district for many farmers, the only way to get their produce to cocoa buyers is by air transport. A recent subsidy of 50,000 kina coming in handy for farmers in this part of the province.
Our DPA team is working closely with the farmers, and then they are liaising with the cocoa board. I think funding is coming from that, and I think national playing too. They are with funding for the team, and the government is at the back of this farmers here. Actually, we must help them so that they can help themselves to live a good life.
And from the 50,000, we freighted out 18.5 tons out of Karamui at a cost of 3 kina per kilo. The 18.5 tons freighted out is worth 111,500 kina, which is earned by the people of Karamui. So this money is into the Karamui people's pockets.
Whilst the cocoa industry is fairly new in Simbu province, the political will is there to add more value to cocoa farmers, with Governor Dua also hinting at a push for downstream processing in the not too distant future.
If once the farmers are rooted, and if we see the production is high, and if the situation looks viable, then we might look at putting up a small confectionery or a factory so that you can produce more legally something long level probably so that the province can benefit. Province in the country.
Merabatulo, National Emtv News.
Following the recent meeting in Panguna, representatives of various factions that fought in the Bougainville conflict have resolved to now come under the banner of Bougainville veterans. This was announced during this week's meeting of the Joint Weapons Disposal Secretariat in Arawa. According to the Joint Weapons Disposal Secretariat co-chair, the United Front presents another opportunity of strengthening the referendum process.
At the meeting of the Joint Weapons Disposal Secretariat in Arawa this week, resolutions from the recent meeting of the various factions in Panguna were presented. In all, 10 resolutions. Among them, the resolution for all groups to now come under the banner of Bougainville veterans, representing a united voice going forward in the weapons disposal and referendum process.
Now, from the summit, we were able to get 10 resolutions. The first one on weapons disposal, where the Bougainville veterans, as they agreed, no more Mekamui, no more BRA, no more resistance. So they've agreed to come under the name Bougainville veterans. They have agreed that all weapons of war will have to be contained, dismembered, and then finally put into monuments.
With weapons disposal a key pillar of the Bougainville Peace Agreement, the progress made by Bougainville veterans is being seen as a huge step forward in realizing this important element of the Bougainville Peace Agreement. At the meeting of the Joint Weapons Disposal Secretariat, representatives of Bougainville veterans committed to removing all weapons still in the hands of ex-combatants to the authorities by September the 1st. Most will be brought to Panguna, where most will be destroyed, and a few to be used to build a monument to remember those that fought in the decade-long Bougainville conflict. This was one agenda pushed forward by the Mekamui, who in recent times have now agreed to be a part of the peace process.
But locally, eventually we will destroy. But we will be having all past in our reality, because now the so-called will come on board now on this peace process, and then let's take it easy. Until such time, all this I know, now maybe final page.
Given the commitment of Bougainville veterans to the weapons disposal process, the Bougainville Police Service has also commended the veterans for taking the lead in this area, with the service reaffirming their commitment to assisting in this area as well.
Start from day one, Bougainville Police Service is still committed. Long supporting more about long weapon disposal. In what way Bougainville Police Service is going on?
The meeting of the Joint Weapons Disposal Secretariat concluded today with the signing of the resolutions with an update to be provided to both the national government and autonomous Bougainville government at the next meeting of the joint supervisory body. Merabatulo, National Emtv News, Arawa.
Numbers of people venturing into small to medium enterprises in Madang province is growing, but what's lacking now is the available markets for them to sell their products. Pamela Eugenio, who makes her own earrings and necklaces, says it is sad that there is not much emphasis given to the SME sector in the province, as most women are trying to make ends meet because the cost of living in the country is very high.
Nenge Bilas and Fashion is an SME in Madang run by entrepreneur Pamela Eugenio. Pamela makes her earrings using traditional rope weaved into twines. Earring fittings she orders from Bo Design, a local SME based in Kavieng. The earrings come in different sizes depending on the customer's orders, with prices ranging from 20 kina to 50 kina single or in bulk orders for those reselling. She is not only selling her handiwork in Madang, but also to outside centers like Port Moresby, Kimbe, New Island, and recently New Zealand.
So Mipla trying lo bung now lo look him how Mipla can help him Mipla yet. So hopefully me not a promise, but it's a work in progress. Mipla trying lo look lo make hosting one pla first la makers market. We call it the Madang Makers Market or SME market. We hopefully look starting the next month. So
Pamela is targeting women from all walks of life while trying to promote fashion and self-esteem amongst women. There is a high demand in this sector, but there is little opportunity available for small to medium entrepreneurs to showcase their handiwork. For her, she uses social media as a platform to market her handiwork. She says there are those who have great potential in other capacities like sewing, cooking, and floriculture, but they do not have the space advantage like her. And local authorities in Madang should provide opportunities for local entrepreneurs to grow in order to thrive.
SME in Madang is we haven't fully tapped into its full potential or carry out SME inside lo Madang yet. And me hope of them or likely call work of them, na kind of interview of them can make him all member blumi or provincial government don't realize him full potential of SME inside lo Madang.
Martha Louise, National Emtv News, Madang.
Presentations of the Middle Ramu District's DSIP acquittals were presented to the Department of Implementation and Rural Development Office in Waigani this morning. It was presented by a member for Middle Ramu Open, Johnny Alonk, with his district administrator and district finance manager. Michelle Stephen with the details.
Along with the 2018 District Services Improvement Program acquittals, the member and his team also presented the Middle Ramu Medium-Term Development Plan and the Annual Activity Plan for the District's Development Authority. The report was compiled by the District's Financial Manager for the operations in 2018 fiscal year. The District's Financial Manager, John Fliel, says most services cannot reach every local level government in the area because of the geographical locations of the LLGs. Mr. Fliel also says the DSIP funds they receive from the government is not enough, and with lack of funding and logistical support, materials purchased for the infrastructure and development are not effectively delivered. Mr. Fliel says the major concern is better road networks into the area.
Our means of traveling is by air, by road, and low dinghy, low travel Kamanta. It's quite expensive, really, to operate such low district display.
Member for Middle Ramu Open, Johnny Alonk, also says the bad road system in the district is not helping the people. The local MP believes with the completion of the Madang Baya Road, the people in his electorate will be connected to the rest of the world.
We don't have road network at this time, only used by aeroplane. The Ramu people using Ramu River as their means of travel.
The MP is also looking at building human resources in the electorate. Acting Secretary for the Department of Implementation and Rural Development, Ahi Vaki, says although Middle Ramu has a lot of challenges and issues, it was the first district in Madang province to submit its acquittals. Michelle Stephen, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues with more after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Counting for Lay Urban LLG's Ward 6 continued through to the elimination round today, with current Lord Mayor Koim Truly Lay maintaining his lead from the primary count. The incumbent Billy Kinsim was eliminated in the 10th exclusion. The elimination continues this evening with a declaration expected tomorrow morning.
25 candidates contested for the councillor's seat in Ward 6, including the incumbent Billy Kinsim. After the primary count this afternoon, the current Lord Mayor Koim Trilulei led with 1,522 votes, followed by Peter Wagu with 1,107 votes.
No, actually there was no hiccups during the counting, so everything was going smoothly according to plan. Also, our time frame was very short.
Kinsim was eliminated in the 10th exclusion, whilst Lay maintained his lead with 1,571 votes, followed by Peter Wagu with 1,218 votes. The Lay Urban LLG has 6 wards with 5 council-elects already declared. For Ward 1, the council-elect was former Mayor James Kay, Ward 2, Demas Michael, Ward 3, Greg Daniel, Ward 4, Hansi Stephen, and Ward 5, Jacob Maragao. The elimination round for Ward 6 continues this evening and is expected to end tonight. A declaration is expected tomorrow. Lucy Kopana, National Emtv News, Lay.
The Executive Dean of the Medical Faculty in University of Papua New Guinea has sparked talks on the establishment of a standalone medical university. Professor Nakapi Tefuarani said there is a need for more doctors in the country. Every year, UPNG's medical faculty produces an average of 50 doctors.
Appropriately, we need to...
Professor Nakapi Tefuarani, the Executive Dean of UPNG's medical faculty, brought up the lingering issue of establishing a standalone medical university. He made these remarks during the opening of the catheterization laboratory in Port Moresby General Hospital. With the establishment of the cath lab, it is an opportunity for both undergraduate and postgraduate students at MedFac to utilize the facility. Professor Tefuarani brought the issue to the attention of Prime Minister James Marape and Health Minister Elias Kapavore.
Appropriately, we need to create a standalone medical university. And this is the right way forward. If we want to modernize and build on the medical school that we have now, we have to put the money where we can make a change to this country.
Currently, only 2 universities in the country are offering medical science courses: the medical faculty at UPNG and the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences in Divine Word University. DW's MBBS program was recently introduced, but for UPNG, the medical faculty has produced over 1,200 doctors since its inception in 1973. With an average of 50 doctors passing out of MedFac yearly, the Executive Dean is adamant on expansion.
And we need this standalone university so that it doesn't only produce the numbers that we need for this country, but also it standardizes. It brings all the nursing school, the community health school, the pharmacy schools, all the different specialty together.
The decision by the government to set up a standalone medical university has been there for some time now. The government had decided to declare the School of Medicine a new university to be funded and managed separately. However, the University of Papua New Guinea had took a court order to stop this declaration. Health Minister Elias Kapavore responded to Professor Tefuarani's call, saying it's about time decisions regarding the medical university is revisited.
The decision of the National Executive Council still stands today. I've written to the current Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology to have the current University Council revisit that decision that is now with the court at the moment, so that they can have that decision. So we need to revisit the decision and make sure that we commit ourselves to implementing the NEC decision to have a standalone university in our country.
Patricia Kiamo, National MTV News.
Turning overseas now, some of the families affected by the Christchurch terrorist attack have just boarded a flight to begin their pilgrimage to the Islamic holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia. The first 200 people making the all-expenses-paid trip, courtesy of the very wealthy Saudi king.
Day is finally here, and Rahana Parween and Shamim Siddiqui are early. Smiles on every face as they check in. Ahead of them, a 20-hour flight passing through Sydney, Dubai and Jeddah before they finally arrive at the holy city of Mecca.
I'm very excited, very, very excited. It's a lifetime achievement.
The group of 14 people are the first of 200 affected by the mosque attacks to head to Mecca at the invite of the Saudi king. They'll join more than 2 million Muslims there for the annual Hajj pilgrimage. The Saudi king, one of the world's richest people, is fronting the bill funding 7-star hotels. The couple live behind the Al Noor Mosque, and Shamim was inside when the terror attack started. Grahana saw many people being shot.
After 15th of March, we were dealing with the lots of things, pain and traumatized and everything. But this is going to be hell, really going to be hell, change our lives.
Their children will have to fend for themselves at home, but know just how much it means to mum and dad.
Honestly, I think ever since I've known my mum, especially, she's always prayed that before she dies, she needs to go to Hajj.
So many heading out, the airport had to fly in specialist bag tags for the occasion. Another 45 will follow at the weekend, with the others not far behind, before the pilgrimage officially begins on August 9.
It will change our life. I mean, I'm thankful to the person who did this act. Because of that, it happened to be that we are going there, you know.
Those who've already been through so much, hoping they can emerge new people on the other side.
An incredible journey, 50 years, has been celebrated by Kiwi pilots who made aviation history. Today is the day Cliff Tate landed back in New Zealand after setting a new record for navigating the globe inside a single-engine plane.
An historic journey relived from the couch these days with wife Joyce alongside. Cliff Tate's nearly 90 but remembers returning from his groundbreaking solo flight as if it was yesterday.
My abiding memory was so glad to be home, to get out of the cockpit and have a cuddle with my wife.
And she was there, waiting anxiously at the Hamilton airfield after 80 days of uncertainty. The only news of his progress, snippets from amateur radio operators around the world.
Well, it's a long way around the world on one engine. And it's such a small plane.
Small and at times very lonely. Cliff flying long stretches solo in the single-prop two-seater Air Tourer 115 with no fancy instruments, no digital navigation and a spare drum of fuel strapped in the passenger seat.
You become one with the machine because I talk to the machine. It talked back to me. And I cried a lot. I know that. Because I miss my family.
His adventure with the aircraft affectionately known as Miss JC began after the couple moved from Auckland and Cliff's much-loved boat had to be left behind.
He got a bit bored when we shifted to Hamilton, so I suggested to him that he go learn fly then, anything to get him out of the house.
The rest, as they say, is history. The 40-year-old salesman turned pilot having circumnavigated the globe in the smallest single-engine plane, silencing his critics.
Everybody laughed at me, said I was crazy. Couldn't be done. I didn't have the brains to do it. The aeroplane was too small. It was impossible.
But 50 years on, there's a special tribute to his success at Auckland's Motat, complete with memorabilia from the journey. And Cliff's trusty friends been spruced up too. Cliff Tate and his family are holding a private celebration tonight at Motat's Aviation Hall, right alongside Miss JC, who's now on permanent display here. The Tates rounding out the week with their wedding anniversary tomorrow.
It's 71 years together. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next 71 years.
A couple with a lifetime of adventures and still more to come.
After the break, we'll take a look at sporting updates in Chukai Sports. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Representing Papua New Guinea in football has been exciting for Lucy Maino. The co-captain of the women's gold medal winning team in the 2019 Pacific Games has another opportunity to represent Papua New Guinea, this time in the Miss PNG pageant. The 24-year-old today making the announcement to join the pageant as Miss Pagahil Real Estate.
This is Lucy Maino, most notably known as being the co-captain of the women's national soccer team, who are 5-time gold medalists in the Pacific Games. After 2 gold medals, Lucy is now setting her sights on the Miss PNG crown. She was among friends and family today at the Stanley Hotel and Suites for her announcement as Miss Pagahil Estate. Living in the United States since the age of 15 has given Lucy a different perspective in life.
Obtained my education overseas, and how through sports I finished my education, and now I want to give back to people in PNG, and by giving back that's through sports. And this is another great outlet, another great platform to voice and speak up for women where there's issues that we face, especially with education and sports.
Her talent in football landed her a scholarship, and on the eve of her 24th birthday, she is now embarking on a new chapter in life.
For me, going overseas and just looking back, I believe that there was a lot that I could come back and give to the country, whether it was through my experiences, my education. There was something that I knew that I could bring back, and even if I helped someone make a change for the betterment of their lives, that was good enough for me. So.
Emily Iso Aimo Maino is a proud parent, glad her one and only daughter is taking on a new challenge in life.
Thank God that her talent shown, and our country selected her to represent the country, which she did, and she did very, very well. I'm a proud mother, I can say that. And to now get off the Pacific Games and into the Pacific pageant, it's something that I am humbled.
Lucy has a degree in business administration from the University of Hawaii and is taking this year off before pursuing her master's.
Actually, she's planned to have a gap year off before she goes back to the graduate school to do her master's. But this is also an opportunity for her in terms of sponsorship and all that. To do her master's, we need a sponsor to sponsor her.
She will have her auntie and namesake Lucy as her chaperone, who will travel from the US to Papua New Guinea to help with the preparations towards crowning night on August 31st.
Actually, my big sister will be coming. She will be her chaperone and will be guiding her through. I will go in between because of work, but as a mother, I will always be there, checking on her and making sure that, she's doing the right thing, her work. We make sure that she's there and doing her work in serving. It's all about servitude.
Fidelis Sukina National, Emtv Sports.
In a small but significant gathering in Port Moresby today saw representatives from Western Province meet with Director for Southern Region Confederate. The purpose of the meet was to facilitate a bid process for the inclusion into next year's 2020 Digicel Cup competition. Director for Southern Confederate Gwaibo Mari says they're fully supportive of the program and to enhance pathway opportunities for players in Western Province.
We should promote and create avenues for competitions as per province. So the only way we can push rugby league to another level in the Western Province is for Western Province to have its own franchise. So competitions within the province can have another level to push for.
I think the Southern Confederate for the invite and for the acceptance of our bid team. We will do everything within our power in the Western Province thing to get this thing up and running and to be successful.
We'll have more sporting updates after these short matches. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. English cricket set an all-time high, so you can imagine what winning the Ashes series that starts tonight would mean for the game's growing fan base in the UK. They're up against an Aussie side desperately trying to salvage their reputation.
The World Cup is theirs. Now England have the chance to get their hands on the Ashes too. Cricket's oldest rivalry about to resume.
It's an opportunity for everyone involved now to further that, to make it as good as you can imagine in terms of a summer of cricket. All the players are very excited and just hours away now, so just want to get out there and get things going.
The host's first ever World Cup win was English cricket's biggest moment since 2005. That was when Ashley Giles was part of a team that finally regained the Ashes. Now England's MD, he told me this summer could be even bigger.
A World Cup and Ashes together, I think, is 40 years ago or something like that. So, it would be a magnificent achievement. It's great to see a love of cricket out there again, and if we win the Ashes, that will only help that.
Australia's still recovering from its gravest ever controversy. The 3 players banned for last year's ball tampering scandal are now back, and one former legendary captain, here as the team's mentor, believes the overhauling culture could be a strength.
This is a huge opportunity to showcase to the rest of the world this is a really good Australian cricket side.
There's been a quote going around our change rooms this week from Winston Churchill, actually, and that's that behaviour doesn't lie. So we can talk all we like about how we're going to behave. Ultimately, you guys will see how we behave and you'll be able to judge for yourself.
He may have trained earlier, but pace bowler Jofra Archer's Test debut will have to wait, left out of the Ashes opener by England as he recovers from injury. But having been thrashed in Australia in the last series, the hosts will be desperate for a strong start and to complete what would be a dream summer.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details for the next 24 hours coming up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Partly cloudy in Port Moresby and Daru. Shower or 2 in Kerema, Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momasa region, a shower or 2 in Lae, Madang and Vanimo, showers in Well and Wewak. In the New Guinea Islands region, showers in Lorengau and Kimbe, partly cloudy in Kavieng, shower or 2 in Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka. And in the Highlands region, a shower or 2 in Mount Hagen, cloudy periods with a shower or 2 in Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabag. Forecast for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerema to Yule Island, to Hood Point, Aroma Coast to Samarai Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, including waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, with waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Straits to Siasi Islands to Long Island, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, also including waters of West New Britain, seas of 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Madang to Bogia, to Wewak, Aitape to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 1 to 2 meters. Waters of New Ireland to eastern West New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 1.5 to 2.5 meters. A look at the ocean forecast. The PNG areas in the Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeast winds at 25 to 30 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots, and in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Thursday, the 1st of August 2019. On behalf of the entire MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.